Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. That was the song that I learned in Sunday school a very long time ago. Perhaps today some people would take offense and suggest that maybe Zacchaeus is better described as vertically challenged. In any case, as a child, I actually took no offense because, like all children, I too was vertically challenged in a world full of adults. In fact, I was also kind of short, even for someone my own age. So this story kind of made sense to me. Zacchaeus couldn't see Jesus, so he was just being smart. Zacchaeus climbed up into the sycamore tree so he could get a better view. Lost on my young mind were all the implications of that act and the nature of the story itself. Zacchaeus was not only short in stature, he was also short in his moral standing within the community. He was, after all, the chief tax collector in that region. Nobody likes a tax collector. And he was seen as a collaborator with the Roman occupiers as well. So he was likely very short on friends. What he did seem to have was a lot of money. He was also filled with curiosity. He wanted to see this strange new rabbi, and in that way he was just like everyone else who was there that day. All of them knew Jesus only by the rumors they had heard concerning him. Rumors were kind of the social media of the time. Every rumor was true, of course, unless proven otherwise. And they said this man could work miracles. Zacchaeus just wanted to see this strange rabbi for himself. So he climbed up into the tree to get a better look. He was surprised by what he saw. Many others in the crowd were as well. This rabbi had no fancy garments, and his entourage consisted of what appeared to be dirty fishermen and a few women. Why is this man considered so important? He must have wondered. And then Jesus surprised him even more. Jesus looked up and actually saw him. It was not just that Jesus noticed someone sitting up in a tree at the back of the crowd. I mean, how could Jesus not notice that? No, what was really surprising is that Jesus knew him by name, and that Jesus spoke to him as if he were important, as if maybe he, Zacchaeus, was the very person that Jesus had been looking for, and the very reason that Jesus had come to their town. Zacchaeus, come down immediately, Jesus said. I must stay at your house today. Now that was a surprise, and it was probably the last thing Zacchaeus expected to happen that day. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Zacchaeus was the last person anyone ever wanted to see, and nobody ever came to his house at all. He was a total social outcast. Nevertheless, Zacchaeus probably felt a certain sense of joy in how this day was beginning to unfold. Jesus had not only noticed him, this weird little man sitting in a tree, but also knew his name. And now Jesus wanted to come and stay with him. In spite of being an outcast, Zacchaeus had grown up in a Jewish community. He knew that hospitality was expected. After all, they had all been taught about how angels from heaven, dressed like men, had sometime visited Abraham. Therefore, they all knew that they were supposed to show hospitality even to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. He couldn't know that Jesus was even more than an angel. So Zacchaeus was going to do what was right and fulfill his responsibility under the laws of God. And who could complain about that? The crowd, of course. He has gone to be the guest of a sinner. Anyone other than Zacchaeus would have been praised for doing what he should do. Not him, though. And maybe Zacchaeus was also afraid that Jesus was going to change his mind now. Maybe Jesus didn't really know before what sort of man he actually was. Maybe now Jesus would not even want to be seen with him. I know, that was not who Jesus was. But Zacchaeus didn't know that yet. And I think Zacchaeus really wanted to find out more about Jesus and his teachings. This might truly be his only chance to do that. So Zacchaeus did something which was very uncharacteristic for him. He did it to quiet the crowd and to hopefully keep Jesus from walking away from him. Look, Lord, here and now, I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times that amount. That surprised everyone there, except probably Jesus. This was one of those teachable moments that pop up everywhere in the gospel story. It may even have been the very reason why Jesus stopped there, beneath that sycamore tree, to talk to Zacchaeus. He wanted the crowd to see and understand that the kingdom of God included Zacchaeus too. After today, Zacchaeus would no longer be an outcast in their eyes. He would be seen instead as someone who was fair and honest in spite of his job, and someone that they could count on to use his resources to help others within the community. Jesus just smiled and said to Zacchaeus, "Today, salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." Were those words in response to the actions of Zacchaeus? Or were the actions of Zacchaeus in response to the presence of Jesus? I don't really know, but I suspect that Jesus was indeed praising him because he was doing what was right, because that is what a son of Abraham would do. Zacchaeus had indeed that day proven to everyone that he was not as uncaring as those who had so long mistreated him and excluded him from their community. The important lesson here for any group of people that calls itself Christian is found in just 3 words: this man too. Every person we see is covered by those 3 words. There is a universality to the mission of Jesus. It was not just for the elect few that Jesus came. Jesus here declared, henceforth no man or woman, tall or short, would be left behind. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. If we really want to become Christ-like, then we need to see all the people all the time, including the ones at the back of the crowd who really aren't used to being seen at all. All the people are loved by God, and therefore we need to love and welcome all the people into our hearts and into our community. I sometimes wonder if Jesus actually knew the name of every person there. He certainly knew who Zacchaeus was, and he seemed to have the ability to read hearts, to know what was inside of people. And somehow, whenever people met Jesus, they seemed to instinctively know that Jesus understood them this way, and that he still cared about them. And that made them want to become better persons. I guess once you have seen Jesus, and more importantly, once you realize that he has also seen you and knows your name, so to speak, then you are no longer a marginal person. You are not forgotten. You are not someone who can just be ignored. You are, in the eyes of God, someone whose true worth can only be measured by what this man has done for you. And how can you be a nobody when somebody like this has noticed you and loved you just as you are? Jesus knows your name. Jesus knows your heart. And instead of quickly walking away, Jesus stops to ask if he might come to your house today. Imagine that. Or better yet, just let it happen. Even if your house is a mess right now, Jesus can help with that. He has come for this reason and this reason alone, to seek and save the lost. So if you are feeling a little lost and a little unappreciated and overlooked, then let him in. And before this day is through, I promise that he will tell the whole world who you really are, a child of God who is loved. Be safe, and God bless you.